What's up, everybody? This episode of the podcast is brought to you by We Print Wraps. We Print Wraps is the wrap industry's #1 source for wholesale printed wraps. They offer free nationwide shipping all across the U.S. and Canada. Go to WePrintWraps.com today. Okay, folks, welcome to the All Wrapped Up podcast. If you're new to the show, I've been a weekly listener. Thank you for tuning in and supporting the show. As you know, I don't ask for much, but I appreciate it if you left your feedback and a 5-star rating on any platform that you're listening to. It really helps us out in getting the word out about the industry. And don't forget, if you find value in the content, subscribe and tell a friend. And now here's a brand new episode of All Wrapped Up with Pablo Hernandez from H5 Wraps. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to All Wrapped Up podcast. We'll be interviewing industry-leading wrap companies to share tips, tricks, stories, and more. All right, so we'll go live. We've got Pablo Hernandez from H5 Wraps. What's going on, brother?
Hey, man. Everything good here. Everything good, man. Really, thank you for inviting me in the podcast. You know, it's a nice opportunity, and I normally listen to the podcast, and it's really good to be here, man, talking with you.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on the show. It's a great honor. I know we've been following each other on social media. I've watched a ton of your videos that you produced. I went through a lot of stuff on your website. Very, very professional, very, very clean. And I love your work. So I'm glad I reached out and got you on the show, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime,
really
anytime.
Cool. It's really good to hear that.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. I mean, there's so many people out there too, and I really like changing it up a little bit. I mean, based on what I've seen on your Instagram, which is super clean. I love your designs on there. You do a lot of commercial stuff, right?
Yes, yes.
Is that a big bulk of your business?
Man, it is, because pretty much what I started doing was a lot of commercial, everything for startups, you know, for these small businesses.
Yeah.
So that was my first job in everything that I had been doing. It was for commercial purpose. Until now that I am getting into the color change and a different style of wrapping. You know?
Yeah, totally different than the commercial game, right?
Yes, yes.
It's still fun for sure. But definitely a little bit more intricate installation as opposed to doing fleet stuff constantly.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. It's actually, I have to pretty much, I wasn't doing any color change because I knew that I don't have the setup that I need, or the way of doing the color change. For me, I think it has to be more time that you will keep the vehicle.
Right.
And you know, man, it's a different process because you're going to take a lot of parts apart, you know, and taking care, like, I think it's more like a slow job, but, at the end, if you charge that, you know, with a good amount, if you have a good price on that, it will be a really good business too.
Agreed. Totally agreed on that. I mean, the commercial game is it's so beneficial because the turnaround time is so much quicker and your profit margins are so much higher as opposed to, you know, like you said, you keep the car a little bit longer, but your profit margins are kind of the same, but, you know, you don't get it out so fast as you do a commercial vehicle.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is correct, man. I think the way that the fact that having, color changes, you sometimes you will have more fun, you know, like, because if it's a nice color or some, you know, you see the change in the car, like in that way. But what I have been trying to do always is when I'm doing the designs, try to do some like art style, you know, try to enjoy that process too, of the design and, you know, and wrapping that cool design that you created. That's a really cool feeling.
Yeah, putting like the livery graphics or some type of more elements to just the ordinary color change. I mean, the gratification of when you're done and you've completely changed the color, especially when you do something so dramatic from like a white to a blue or a black to a red or something like that, where you kind of see things come to life. Adding those extra graphics on top, livery styles or some type of tribal or whatever, it kind of gives it more life than just changing the color.
Definitely, yeah, man. And that's something that I think most of the customers are actually up to. If you like show them ideas of, hey, what about if just this plain color, adding like this little line here or another color that, goes with so they most part of the time, if they understand that you're actually trying to, make it nicer,
right?
They actually like that and they will agree most part of the time. And that's something that you just put an extra little amounts in the invoice at the end too.
Oh, for sure. Upsell. We're in the service, part of things. So upsell is always key, and adding more, everybody's doing all these crazy things like wrapping, the wheel calipers and things of that nature. All those things are upsells for us. And at the end of the day, and if we have the product to make that work and make an extra couple $100 and we don't have to really stress out too much about it and it's a quick upsell, why not?
Yeah, definitely. I sometimes forget about that when I want a color change. The customer tells you, and I'm like, okay, perfect. You're happy because you're selling the full color change, and then but you start like, hey, hold on, let me try to see if we can actually add more stuff, and but even with the commercial graphics too.
Oh man, commercial stuff you can upsell that for days.
For sure, yeah.
Especially on the design side. I mean, how creative do you want it? Do you want it simple, a simple wrap because the color of your vehicle is just oxidated, it's really old, I want to bring it back to life? Or is it something where, you do a partial, quick and simple? That's kind of, for a full service shop, that's kind of your bread and butter a little bit. The upsell and the design time and things like, because we all know once the design's done, it's just printing it and installing it. But
correct, yeah, yeah. Design is another total, aspect that sometimes is a lot of time, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think design time is kind of for a full service shop and not just a designer in their own element. I think it's something that we don't really, some of us really don't take care of too often. We say, oh yeah, we'll put it in the bill. You know what I mean? And you do a van. Let's just say a van costs $3,500 and you spent, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours designing something. Well, what's your hourly rate? Is that tacked on, or did you kind of just bury it somewhere in the price? Could you have made more money, for the $3,500 for the wrap and the install, but could you have made another $300-400 on the design on top of that? Maybe,
Yeah, man, that's for sure a super important thing that I normally, put a lot of attention on the design part, because the thing is that if you, for some reason, even if you do like a quick design, I know you are a designer, man, so you understand really good, like if you can just sit down for, 25 to 1 hour.
Yeah.
And you're going to do something, nice. I mean, I know what happened to me is if I have the idea really clear in my mind,
mm-hmm.
It's faster. I can design super fast. I start because I already know how I want it.
Right.
Most part of the time, I get that idea when I'm talking to the customer.
Right.
I'm asking so many questions like, hey, what's the color that you normally like more? What's your style? What kind of music do you hear?
Mm-hmm.
Man, things like that, because you are understanding more of the person. You are closer to, to know what kind of design he will like. And at the same time, like, I tell him like different options. Hey, you like this or this other? When I got all the information, it's super easy. I already have the design and I'm pretty much in my mind ready. I just need to put it on the computer, right?
Right.
So, but sometimes you don't have any of that. I mean, I know creative minds are like, what, man? I don't know what to do today. And you are like 2-3 hours in the computer and you're not doing nothing. Like, no, that's not what you want. So what I do is stop and wait, wait for some times and it will come for sure.
Yeah. I mean, patience. You don't want to be spinning your wheels, wasting too much time and too many hours on a design if you don't think it's going to be the right thing. Yeah. I mean, you could totally ask a few generic questions to get the vibe of the client, figure out if their design is either going to be on the loud side, so super, super colorful, super impactful, or more corporate style where it's kind of low key, neutral based colors, kind of simple, clean design.
Right. Cleaner. Yeah.
Yeah.
More cold. Yeah, that's true. And I think that as much as you put attention and doing nice designs, taking a lot of time doing that actually is really helpful, man, because that's your portfolio.
Right.
That's how it's going to be looking, your portfolio. So you can be a company that has too many wraps, like with letters and crowded designs and pictures and background and all that. But at the end, people, when they are choosing, they will for sure probably pick the one that it has like nice looking. They want to get, stand out from what a lot of other wrap shops are just doing quick,
Or even the competition at the end of the day too.
Right. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. I mean, I go back a lot with Dan Antonelli's book and doing your market research where, when you have a plumber come to your shop and he's got a fleet of vans, 5, 6, and what do you usually see on a plumber's van? Some type of water scene. It's a lot of blues. I mean, it's the same shit every time. It's so plain.
Yes, they are the same, pretty much. What you just said is here. I mean, here in Florida, I saw a lot of that, like that big drop of water on the background, and the thing is that now that you mentioned that, when some companies, they are looking at their competition, what they have, and if that design is not good, but at the same time, it's a big company or competition, they think they need to do something similar to be, on the
same playing field.
Exactly.
Same
in the same
level.
field. Like, oh yeah, I like what that company does. It has to be that specific way. But I think you as a designer, the good thing is to how to convince them to change the game, completely the game, man. Go with another totally different color and do something, that at the end of the day, what you need is to do sales.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like you said too, it's your portfolio. Do you want to be the guy that does similar designs on all your plumbers that come to you? No. If the guy's over there on the left and he's got, that big water drop and a bunch of blues and whatnot behind there, think out of the box. Let's go pink. Let's do something completely different. And that's what's going to make you stand out, because no one would ever think that, and they're going to look at yours over theirs because your color palette is totally different.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. That's super true, man. I saw several like campaigns or maybe new branding identity of some companies here that they did something like that. Like, just one specific color, like teal with white. That's it. And clean. And of course, they're going to stand out a lot more. So that is really important, man, too. When you are selling that, try always, what I do is try to sell the design that I want to see on the road, something that you really enjoy, because at the end, you're going to be producing that, printing that. You're going to be happy when you saw the printing the way you like. Then when you are installing that, you're happy because it's like the fun job to do, fun project. And if you have the chance to edit that every time, that will be great.
Yeah. How much joy do you get when you see a lot of your wraps driving around town?
That's super cool, man, because it's like I'm driving or something and something pulls my eye, my head turns my head like, oh, that's something that I know. And as soon as I saw the wrapper, the company is like, yeah,
I did that. Right? Yeah.
Yes, I did that.
It's a super cool feeling, man. I'll tell you, I can never get over, seeing wraps that are, I have done for, 4 or 5 years ago, still driving around, and it makes me turn. You know what I mean? I'm like, whoa, what's that? Oh, wait a minute. I did that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it 4 or 5 years, is a long time in the industry. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, man.
Trends, change, things change. But when you create something that's timeless, that is like the coolest thing. When you get 5, 6 years on a wrap and you're like, oh my God, that looks like I just did it type of, the design, I'm saying, the style, how you did it, man, that's just like, yeah, that's going to prove, the test of time,
Definitely. Yes, man. It's super cool because at least, you are something of you is over there, driving around.
Right.
A part of you that was in your brain some moment ago. So definitely, yes.
Yeah, it's just another form of artwork at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. That's what I think. The mindset that I think is good to have in a wrap shop is you're producing artwork, man. That like for me is what I try to, always keep here as a part of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
I try to have the shop, with, it's not like it doesn't have to be a boring place. It has to be something that you get inspired and you're doing art. And, sometimes you need to do like super commercial, straight, no art things because customer want it in that specific way. But that will help to, make cash flow and continue producing what you at the end want to do. If you have this, if you want to do a specific thing like only color change for Ferraris or or only high end designs, it's about to walk in that direction. In some moment you don't need to do any of those jobs like that you don't like because you already have your customers that you want and you just work on what you like to do.
There's nothing worse than working on a design that you are not 100% on board with.
Yeah.
It drags out the job and you feel like unaccomplished a little bit, when you're done. It's like, I wish I didn't pick that design. I wish they went with another one. And, we pick and choose our battles and we talk about that even with designs, concepts. We do 2, 3 different type of renditions and we think they're going to go with the nice bright one, the hot one that you're just in love with. And as a designer, you have to learn to let go sometimes. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like the one that you love, you have to keep in mind the one that you might love might not be the one that they love, and repurpose it later on. If you get a similar client or something, repurpose the design. It's not like you can't reuse it. If it's not out there yet or already, put it in the recycling bin. You know what I mean? Use it for a later day.
And you can use even, it doesn't have to be even like specific, like you can use some pieces,
right.
Like some lines or, or even the concept at least or colors. Boom.
Right.
That's for sure. Yeah. I don't think you're going to lose time if you do design something that is not going to be sell, or the customer won't want it,
mm-hmm.
because that moment that you are building that, man, you are creating something. So even you are doing, getting better in this specific field as this design, so you won't lose time as a designer. But the good thing is to always try to not stay in the same mind of design. It's good to always be, watching on or different concepts, the trends, and go back in the past from, Toulouse-Lautrec, this guy that does, he produced the first posters. So that kind of design, and then come again to the 2018 and, learn from people that are doing really good on that. As you mentioned, Dan Antonelli. I have his books, and man, and I love all the work, and the commercial side is beautiful, man. That's a good art of commercial. You're enjoying watching all those elements, cleanness, and I think that's the way that's supposed to be commercial. When you're a designer, you have to try to do, like this clean design, and your job is to convince the customer to use that.
Right.
That's the worst part.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's almost like when you go buy a car, you're almost being like a salesman. It's like, hey, you might want the family car, but here's a cool hot rod. You know what I mean? You kind of want to upsell them a little bit on it. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, inspirational stuff, like looking back, to printed stuff, back in the 60s, the 50s, or even like 80s, the way it's evolved, even in typography, things have changed, and to take those elements and turn them into digital, back then all that stuff used to be hand drawn, and then converted. If you can take that stuff and like turn it into like new age art, you know what I mean, the 2000s, and bring a new flair to it, oh my God, you're hitting a home run. And that's absolutely what Dan Antonelli is doing. He's taking the vintage style of things, mascots, color palettes. I mean, they do a lot of research, and I after reading his most latest book, I've started to go to like Barnes and Noble and stuff like that, and just look at like old school typography books, old posters, like you said, that were created back then. And you looking at them, you would think, oh, that's old news and stuff. But you'd be surprised how much inspiration you can get just by flipping through a couple of those pages and looking at the way they're designed and the way the typography is. I guarantee you get some type of inspiration for some type of client somewhere down the line if you do that.
Sure, man, definitely. And I think that what happened, or the reason of that, is even because these guys, they were designing all this with hands, just, they don't have this computer that we use today that we just put elements. So right. That's when it's too easy, okay, boop, boop, you put that. They have to make sure that what they were doing will be readable, will be, it has to do the job. So, and the time consuming to do that too.
Yeah, and there's no delete. There's no delete button. No, it's basically correct. You got to start all over. You know what I mean? And I think now, being in this day and age in this type of field, I always say we're kind of a little bit spoiled. We can change things and manipulate things in a blink of an eye. Back then, it was kind of like you got to wipe everything off, start fresh, get a new piece of paper, or whatever the case may be. And, all those hours may be gone, but, you live, you learn. And you know what? Everybody makes mistakes, and you learn from them, and that just you become better after that. You know what I mean?
Sure, definitely.
For sure. But we did not get into your projects this week and what you got going on at your shop. I know we went into like design and all that stuff in the beginning, switching it up, but take us a little bit into the H5 Wraps shop. Let me know what you got going on over there this week.
Sure, man. Right now, we just we're gonna start to wrap 3 trucks. They are going to be commercial trucks. It's going to be full wraps, and we have the first one here. We are prepping this truck. I'm just finished installing some full coverage on motor covers for boat, a boat motor cover. This Mercury 275. I don't know if you saw those, or they're super big, man. They're like rounded, and so we cleaned all the old stickers and everything and put some vinyl. It's actually frozen vanilla, I think is the name.
Ooh.
The 3M 1080.
Sounds yummy. Frozen
It's super
vanilla.
cool, man. Yeah,
Jesus.
it has pearl and it looks really good. Yeah, I was doing that, and at the same time, we have it's like a trailer that we are putting. It's a partial. It's actually decals, like letters and a big logo on that, and that's my side here on the wrapping area. Because my wife, she works with me, and she pretty much takes care of all the printing. That's the way I start actually doing, and I still have customers that call me a lot for business card brochures. I stopped doing that for a moment. Now I'm again doing that. So that's some printing here, man. Like business cards, some brochures, stickers, Scottish stickers, and that's it, man, I think.
Do you do the business cards and brochures in house as well, or do you send it out?
Out, yeah.
Yeah.
I pretty much what I do is design here and send that to print, and they actually send it here to the shop, so customer comes here
and pick everything all up.
Pick it up. Yeah.
Do you do signage as well, or just the cars and promotional stuff?
No, yeah, signs actually too.
Yeah.
We do some aluminum signs, small or coroplast, or just I actually sell. One of the things that I'm doing to maintain here some cash flow is reselling signed vinyl for some designers around here. So they send me the files ready to print. Whatever they send me, I print that, and I give them a wholesale price.
Yeah.
So I keep the machine running constantly, and because that was the pretty much the word or the business that I was doing when I start. So I have a lot of people that just still know me for doing that or for printing. So I say, wait, why not, man? Yeah. Even because I'm telling you this because I changed completely that, specific, product to wraps.
Yeah.
And I focus on wraps. And for some time I was just doing wraps because it was just me. So I didn't have the time to do all other stuff. But now that I have help, I start doing again some signage and all that.
That's amazing. Man. Good for you, man. I mean, we all have transitioned from either a completely separate career into the wraps, or we were born into it, from the sign era and stuff like that, and got into the wraps, or, just fresh, just kind of like, hey, I want to get into this industry and, get training, start a small shop, build from there, and now, have an amazing shop. But, we all have different stories. Definitely, let's get in a little bit to how you kind of got into the industry. Take me back to, when you were a young boy, running around. Did you get into did you get into the wraps or did you get into graphic design when you were younger and stuff like that, or?
I mean, yeah, I think when I remember when I was in high school, that I actually was in Costa Rica. I'm from Costa Rica.
That's amazing.
So, when I was there in high school, we don't call it high school, but it's about the same time. I knew, man, for some reason that I want to be a graphic designer because I sketch and do drawings. That's what I pretty much was doing every day in school. I wasn't that good, on my grades, but I was drawing all day. So I knew from the beginning that I loved to do that. And I started there, and I couldn't make to do an exam to go straight to college and start studying graphic design. So sometime, 5 years that I didn't get that grade pass, I became I started growing bell peppers in greenhouses.
Wow.
Like, yeah, man, that was super cool. I used to live in a farm, so I just have a small greenhouse and I grow bell peppers there and hydroponic and straight to the earth,
How many
with,
how many peppers would you um you know grow in a season?
yes, I used to have 1,000 plants
Wow.
and it was 2 plants per, I mean, at the beginning they were like in little containers.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to have 2 in each container with, it was like volcano stones and some other, like, salt. So like a combination of little of sand and stones. So you have a perfect substrate to put the, in the water, you put all the mineral, the nutrients that the plant needs in different moments of growing, like for when they are growing just the roots and then they are start growing the leaves and then the fruit time. You control all that in the, making all those little chemical, um, combinations.
Now,
Yeah.
was that something that you picked up just generations? Your mother, your father just taught you, hey, this, you grew up on a farm, this is what you're gonna do.
Yes. Yeah, I was I grew up in the center, man, like in the city.
Yeah.
But I used to spend a lot of time in the farms because my family, some of my family lived there. So yes, it was like, because I was in the environment, I was, I always loved to be there. It's grown. I used to, ride horses or, a lot of, cows,
Yeah.
different, all that are
Growing chickens. You guys grow chick? Yeah.
exactly
I know
with
exactly where you
chickens,
come from.
pig, man.
I come from an island, outside of Portugal. It's called the Azores. It's 9 islands, just, like east of Portugal and Spain. It's just out there. And that's
Cool.
how it was back then, man. It's just, you live on an island and you grow your own vegetables, you grow your own meats that you butcher yourself. And just, that was just the way it was back then. My dad still, my dad had 3 younger brothers. My dad's the oldest and a sister. The sister would be home cooking and the guys would be out, feeding the cattle, grabbing the corn, grabbing the wheat to feed everybody, feeding the pigs. It just kill the chicken that afternoon so we could get prepped to eat for dinner. It just, I know that culture all too well, man. And it just, that's a dying thing too. I mean, farming and growing your own vegetables and stuff like that. Not a lot of people do that anymore either. So I pay
Yeah.
respect to that. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to do that.
Yes. You pretty much, yeah, growing and, working in the field on that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be there every day, man.
Yes.
Every day for sure, like pay attention. But it's a cool life, it's a more,
Simple life.
Simple. Yeah. That's true.
No technology back then, man.
Yes, man. I remember that time. I remember times that I didn't hear a TV for like, I don't know, months. So at the moment that I started, if I go to the city, when I went to the city, I heard the TV on. I was like, wow, hold on. Like,
What's
you
that?
really like catch it. Yeah, because it was in another totally different setup.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't want to do it. If you know, let me know when to stop or going in another direction.
Oh, dude, I love talking about this. I wanted to ask you was, how long of a harvest would you grow these 1,000 pepper? Like, what was your time frame? Like 4 months, 6 months?
It was, it's like, you got like 60 days to get the plant, ready.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like the first 2 leaves and then, like you're gonna have the pepper grows, like by week. You start the harvest every week, right? How you say that? Collecting. So that could be a year if you take care a lot of the plants, or maybe 8 months. That you have those plants growing. But what happens is that there is a moment that the plant is too big, that all the nutrients to go and travel to the top is a long distance, so it's not that much of filling on the fruit that you need for
for the
so
ones at the top, they kind of don't get the nutrients, so they don't grow very quickly.
They're gonna be smaller.
Yeah.
So that's the moment that you probably will be cutting plants, and at that moment you have to get you probably have the next season ready. All the next plants that you're gonna grow, they are in another space, and they are almost when you're cutting the ones that are old, the other ones are start.
Wow. It's just a
getting
circle.
The first fruits. Exactly, and you close the circle, so you try to have all year the production.
Right.
The good thing is that in Costa Rica is really good, man. The weather to have whole year production in this specific bell peppers. I was experimenting with the color one, because in Costa Rica we used to have one color only. So I was growing like orange ones, and it was fun market to open.
Jesus. And this was like a big source of income for you at the time, right?
Yeah, at the time, it was, I started doing that for doing a business. In my family, man, I grew up with so many people that they are doing business. So that's the this kind of families are, everybody has a business, or at least friends. You are always, since I am a little kid, they send me to work in these different places. So of course you learn about every different type of business and how to treat with talk with people about selling, or when you're selling something. So it's really good. That for me, it was really good. So I decided to do that as a business for sure. It was the right income for me to take, to have all my, whatever I need at the moment in that time.
Right. That's amazing, man. I mean, not too many people have stories like that. Growing vegetables and stuff like that to make a living for a little while. And it's gotta be a hard life, man. I mean, I'm sure, it was a treat when you would go to, the center of town or the city. That was a treat for you. But half the time you'd have to live like on the farm and take care of whatever you need to take care of, because that's where your family was. And, you have to, back then it's just like anything you had to do for the family, you had to be there. You know what I mean? And take care of it,
Yes, that is true, man.
Yeah,
correct.
That's amazing. So going after, creating this harvest of peppers and drawing all the time. Now you said you used to hand draw, right?
Yes, man. But yeah, back in the day I was doing pretty much hand drawing and doing skulls and fire flames, things like that. Like pretty much you like some style, and I was doing all the time that, and monsters, all these things, kind of inventions that I create, or waves at the same time. I in Costa Rica, it's a big culture of surfing too. Wow. Because we have waves, man, all year, and we have Pacific and Atlantic Ocean. So you have two different cultures at the same time, and two different type of beaches that, full waves, good waves all the year. So it's a lot of big culture there. So I was on all that kind of, the brands that I always like surfing brands and things like that. And that was my style of design. And for some reason, I stopped doing the growing peppers and all that. And I stopped the business, completely. And I went to the city. So I decided to try to study a lot for passing the exam to get into college, to start going to, study graphic design. I think I said like, man, this is my moment and I need to do this. And man, Jeff, I gotta tell you, it was super hard. I did it like 3 times in a row, but it was at the end, it was that my higher score compared to the other scores. So imagine, man, I was super pumping to start studying at that moment. So I get into this really good university of art and design and photography and videography. And I studied there for about 2 years, 1.5 years to 2 years. And because, man, it was a very expensive university, so I couldn't stop paying. But because of that, at the same time, I tried to get in as an intern into the advertising agency.
Wow.
When I finished classes, I was in the lab, and the guys are doing the finals for, final project for graduation.
Mm-hmm.
I was there, asking, hey man, how you do this in Illustrator, or say something. They get rid of me like, hey man, get out here, let me work. And some other guys, they just tell you, they want to teach you, right? Like, yeah, you do this and this in this way. So I started, watching a lot of Illustrator and asking a lot to people that I knew that were using the program. And I get Adobe with the guy, the representative from Adobe. He came to the university and he was doing like Illustrator basics, something like that. So I took those courses, Illustrator and Photoshop. And as soon as I started learning those, that get me into that job in the university.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were like, hey, why you want to do an internship in the middle of your, you're not even in the right moment to do this. But I showed them like, hey, I can do this and that. I try to convince them, and they say, okay.
That's awesome. I mean, you had to do what you had to do at the end of the day.
Exactly, man. Exactly. But at the time that I started doing that, of course, when you're studying is one thing, man. But when you are in the field, that's when you learn, and all those things that you remember, maybe they come, but the real school, I mean, you will face that in the field.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, right. So I was working with this guy that was a really creative, he was the senior creative guy of the place. So I started, understanding how they try to, work with the brands, how the brands need to look, in which way they want to do the advertisement, more, this kind of advertisement that you want to think about it, on why you are convincing the people to do that. So a lot of topics that is really cool, and they really worked for me until, to start doing this business. And from there, I jumped to a bigger agency that they start paying me really low, man. I wasn't receiving money from the first one, and I stopped studying. I couldn't go to more classes because when, different schedules, right?
Right.
So yeah, but the university was not for people that will spend the whole day there. So I was working and it was super hard at that time. But man, I get this position in this other agency, and I start doing designs for Honda Motors, the motorcycle part only.
Wow.
So yeah, they give me the account because they did me like, they put me like a project to do a design with a scooter that they were selling that scooter at that time. So I did, something totally different of what the other designers were doing. And I was thinking, man, probably this could just be my out from here, They will tell me, no, this is not what we're looking for. But for some reason, they like the design, and they decide to take me to the place and explain that design to the board of the guys in the Honda. I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Wow.
I was saying, let's do it. So that was a super cool experience, yeah, because it was you and in front of all these guys just watching you, like, okay, what do you want to say about that? And so I put the design and I explain a little bit real quick, and they say, yeah, this is different. We like that, man. And I was super happy.
I can imagine. Holy shit. Were you super nervous?
Yes, definitely, man. I was super nervous. I was like, I don't think I explained, even correct. Maybe.
You just kind of winged it. Yeah. Just whatever came out of your mouth, and that was it.
Right. Yeah. I was like, yeah, okay, but I just give them like the reason they need to change. Like, hey, man, what your guys are doing, a lot of people are doing this. I think you catch, you will get more attention, going in the other direction. And for some reason, they say, yeah.
That's amazing. And how old were you at the time when this had happened?
Man, that was, I was like 26. That was in 2008.
Wow.
2008. I don't remember my age. But yeah, I was like,
let's not do the math. Let's not do the math. Yes. We're all getting old here.
But yeah, man, it was really cool, to have that gave me the job at the end, and I started doing a lot of designs for dirt bikes,
wow.
And I like dirt bikes. I was super happy doing that account. And sometimes they give me some designs of Alfa Romeo.
Okay.
That brand, yeah. So it's another concept totally. So it was really cool for me to change from, that motorcycle style to the more clean, elegant, style of design.
With cars and stuff. What were you designing? Just kind of like the advertising of the scooter? You know what I mean? Just like a poster or something to that nature?
Yeah, most part of the time we're like ads for the newspaper.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, at that time it was like, still today, everybody reads the newspaper in Costa Rica, I think. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, but at the time, man, everybody was reading, so it was ads. So I pretty much need to take the pictures of the motorcycle. Sometimes they have the picture and they send me those pictures, and I start creating like, hey, this is the motor you need. And with the creative guy, we discuss like what we should say, discuss like, hey, we were going for a ride, and then on the shadow, next to the railroad, something like that. Or so this guy, he used to do all the copies, and I create the design with that copy, and trying to, of course, depending on where we were, what the ad was asking or telling, the design will be like in that direction.
That's amazing. Now, was is newspaper just black and white back then?
No, it was actually, full color.
Wow.
Yeah. It was in 2000, I think in 2008, 2009. That was about those years.
That's amazing.
Actually, yeah, man, it was super cool, man, because you learn a lot of brands and all those things, and the only thing is that you are only designing. You're going to be in the computer. That's it, man.
Yeah.
Stuck in some way. Yeah.
Stuck behind that cubicle or in that office, man.
Correct. Yes. And I don't like that too much, to be just there. You need to be a little bit of movement. Yeah.
Being outside, being in a creative environment, not in a bubble that, it's funny you say that because, I always thought that was a life I was going to live as a designer. I'm going to work for a big firm and, work in a cubicle or work in a cool office. And, now a lot of these creative firms, they keep the desks and everything open concept. So there's no walls. And I'll tell you, I've never worked in an environment like that, but that has to change the mindset of the creative, designers because, you know, you look to your left, you look to your right, there's other designers, inspiration, lots of color. You could see everybody working. That's got to be more of a healthier environment than, you know, the people working 9 to 5 behind a desk in a cubicle looking at 3 walls. How can you be creative in something like that? Your environment's a gray piece of fabric, you know what I mean, on 3 sides with a computer in front of you. That can't be healthy, you know?
Yeah, I agree, man. Actually, I think if you're a designer, man, you need to be more. I mean, the computer will be just the tool, right?
Right.
That's the tool to create, you know, to do the digital file, right? But you have to start, I think. I mean, sometimes, of course, you don't have the time to do that. And you're in a business and you need to make money. I understand all that for sure. But if you have, I mean, the best way will be if you're a designer, you should be outside a lot, you know, checking textures, taking pictures of things that you're going to use. So you don't use only vectors or, you know, everything that everybody's using for these places, the free stocks or Shutterstock, all that you pay for that too. But I mean, you're going to be more creative if you're outside taking elements to bring into your designs. I think it will be super, you know, that will you start probably will do a change.
Oh, 100%. 100% on that. I you know, in even taking photos with these new iPhones, you can take a high resolution photo with that and use it in your element, whether you see, you know, a rusted spot that you want to add or a rivet that you want to add. It is super endless. And I feel like some designers will, you know, use iStock or use Shutterstock as somewhat of a crutch, a little bit. You know what I mean? I mean, you use them for inspiration, but like you said, man, getting out, hearing cars drive by, hearing animals roam around, and taking photographs of things that you could possibly bring into your designs. I mean,
sure.
How many times do you get asked, man, how did you find that? Like, how did you know to put that there? It's like, you know, what better feeling than to be like, I took that photo and I used that. Like, that's gotta be, you know, you are a creative designer in all aspects when you get to that level. It's just amazing.
Sure. Yeah, man, definitely. And even like drawing and sketching what you want to do first, like, you know, doing those sketches, sometimes I know, man, you need to move fast and okay, I need to create this and customer is waiting. And I understand that sometimes, you know, just have to grab a couple of vectors over there and just put that over here and boom. But I mean, sketching and all that and having a different space with paper only and, you know, pencil, not computer at all. That is, it's a good space to be, you know, to move yourself in your brain and in a different direction.
Yeah.
Then, you know, of being just in the front of the computer.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely agree. Stimulating your brain is half the time what you need to do. You know, when you're stuck in a rut and you're behind a computer and you're just turning your wheels, get up, walk around, get that blood flowing, go outside, have a cup of coffee, do something 5-10 minutes. And I can guarantee you when you come back fresh, something else is going to arise and you'll be like, damn, thank God it took 10 minutes for myself. Cause, you know, that's when your designs get, you know, go to the next level sometimes. Just a little breather.
Sure, man. And I now that you say that, I just remember that sometimes you are not like, hey, man, I'm not closing this and this is not what I want. You stand up for a while, do other stuff, and then you come back and, oh, look at it's this simple. Boom, boom, boom. And you got that, you know, that idea and you finish in 15 minutes.
Right. Yeah. When you could have been 3 hours into it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Unbelievable. That's unreal. So, going back to, you creating these marketing campaigns for the newspapers, for the Honda scooter and everything like that. Take me a little while after that. So you're still in Costa Rica at this time as well, right?
Yes.
2008, 2009 roughly?
Yes.
Wow.
Correct.
Okay. So when did you make the transition here to the States?
Man, that was 2010, but actually will be like because when I was there in Costa Rica, the advertising agency sent me to they told me to design like a trailer to put they will use this trailer to show some motorcycles on a show.
Mm-hmm.
So they tell me, hey, you have to design this trailer in a way that looks good. So, man, I did several things on the trailer, but I put the two wings of the Honda logo it's one wing, but right. I put one in each side. So it was super cool because it was like closing the trailer and the wings, were like about my size probably.
Wow.
So they were big. Yeah. So they told me, hey, you need to go to the place and see if they are going to be installing that in a way that you want it. Yeah, sure. Yes, I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me where I need to be. I'm going right now.
Where is the door? Yeah. So, man, yeah, I went to the place, man, and it was a print shop. So as soon as I opened the door, this solvent smell, I'm like, yes, man, it smells good.
That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, man, it was like that smell, looking those prints, that big heads move in the movement.
Yeah.
Coming here and there. And man, I really like the place, like just the environment and I saw my designs being printed, and I said, cool, man, because this is the closing of your project.
Right.
When it's printed or mounted, depending on where is it. But yeah, man. And I started looking the vinyl. It was, I remember at the time that it was only like calendar vinyl, like regular signed vinyl. I don't even know what was that, but they start putting the vinyl on it was like a PVC panel and they screw that so I watched all the the way they did it.
Yeah. And
I really like it, man. I said, and man, this vinyl is super cool. At the same time, I have a friend that his dad, he owns, he actually right now he's the owner of that shop, but it's like a really nice place that they print for a lot of persons. So they were telling me that there is a nice materials and that are coming, and they start talking to me about the control tack. They say, hey, control tack. And I'm okay, cool. Because it's like, I'm telling you what happening. Everything this is happening at the same time. So my brother, he's trying to make a business of a food truck business.
Yeah.
So I did the logo for him and all the designs. So he get like a little card. It's like these hot dog carts in New York.
Yeah.
Like,
it's push carts.
Yeah. These normally you will be transferred this one on a trailer.
Wow.
But it's like pretty much like a grill.
Okay.
With two, like a little, ice space for ice in one side. And then the other was like little compartments to put the food. So it was like a 4x8 size, something like that. So he said, man, I need to wrap this with the material that this guy is telling me, the control tack that he was saying is a friend of us, we know the guy both. So I said, man, yeah, let's do this. What happened at that time, man, is that they sell you the vinyl, but when they say, okay, you want it laminated, and it was like the double of the price.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I remember if it was $500, it was like $1,000 just by being laminated, I don't know if they at the time probably this material was so new there, nobody was like using it so much, so it was really expensive to use it laminated. So man, you know, to this long story short, I that was my first wrap that I did. I did it on my
on the cart.
yes,
Wow.
on this card, man. I created the panels. It came out. One of the panels was short, so I actually can see that on the picture. Every time that I see the picture, I notice that little panel. Yes, man. And it's not that I installed it on my mom's garage there. Just put I came, boom, installed it in one night, and put the music on, and start trying to put the panels. And it came out good, man. I noticed that it was compared to the other material that for science, it was super, like, wow, man, this is really good. When you know that when it's no lamination, it's like, of course, man, it's like softer and it's more scratchable.
Yeah.
The wrinkles are, more propense to happen, of course, but it was flat surface pretty much just by parts. So came out good.
No transfer paper?
No.
Oof.
No, just,
wow.
Yeah, because I actually, now that you tell me that, yeah, I installed some of those. They put like a liquid lamination, right? And then they put the transfer paper. Yeah.
Which does nothing, honestly. It makes the print look hazy. If you don't spray it right or equal, you might as well not even spray it. It doesn't do anything.
I agree, man.
It protects the print, but it doesn't add any more thickness. So either way, you're installing it the same way.
Yeah.
Oh, unreal. But at least your first go around at it was somewhat of a flat surface. All four sides or just three sides?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. Because
five
it was
sides?
It was like 3 sides, but they were like little boxes going out.
Oh yeah, just popping out for maybe like a propane tank or something.
Yeah, so you have more sides, but they were smaller, some of them. But yeah, it was the only thing that I remember that was like harder will be the corners to close, from the side to the top of of the table on the top, the topper. So I remember that corners, I did like some cuts.
Yeah.
And overall, it looked good. And that I think was that makes me the more confident. Like, hey man, this is cool, This wrapping thing is really nice.
Oh my God. Do you still have photos of that?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Honestly, I gotta put this out there. When we launch the episode, right after you post that the episode's out, man, you have to put up a picture of that.
Sure.
That would be amazing.
Yes, man. I remember, I was looking at the pictures actually 2 days ago. I was, what, man? Look at that. So yeah.
How far you've come. Think about it.
Oh yes, man. It has been a long distance, but yeah, it was, from there, start rapping with that rap, that project, I actually started getting a lot of, of my interest on this, man. And I always like the idea of rapping cars. I'm going to be honest. I'm not like a big car guy that knows a lot of everything, this guy that tell you, hey, this motor with this, this car was made for this, environment. I don't know. There's so many things that the guys know of cars.
Yeah.
That's not me, but I do like them a lot. I like trucks and I like, some other fast cars. And I always liked the idea that was a good business, and it was like me doing what I like, that is designing. And at the same time, it was really cool to finish the project, installing that, but installation wasn't my actual goal. I wasn't like, yes, I want to become an installer. That wasn't my view. It's more like designer. And I'm installing right now more than designing.
Installing more than you're designing. Yeah.
Yes, man.
It's a nature of the beast, kind of having a smaller shop and more intricate where you have to wear all the hats. But sometimes, if the installer calls and, that's what you got to do for the day or the next couple of days or whatever the case may be,
Sure, correct, man. And I think the installation is the final product. So when you're facing the customer, when he's picking up, at least you know that, I mean, if you are doing it, I think you have to, as an owner, make sure that, hey, okay, I'm a good installer. If you are, I mean, you're going to take care of a really good installation. You want to make sure the product goes really good. So do that. But if you're not, you probably want another person doing that. Sometimes you don't have the option.
Mm-hmm.
There is a moment that you just, even if that happened to me, I think I'm getting better, but I wasn't that good at that time. Like I was like, doing a lot of mistakes, man. But the good thing is that I always wanted to be really good and smooth. So at least I tried to fix,
Yeah,
the mistakes.
It's the name of the game. I mean, I know, and I still make mistakes even to now.
Sure.
I mean, we learn every car is different. Every substrate's different. You're going to learn different techniques and, why does it take you, 20 or 30 minutes less to do the passenger side than it did the right side, the driver's side? Because you already know where your cuts are going to be, where you need to squeegee, where you don't need to squeegee, where you need to use heat and not use heat. The other side's you're going to lose, you're going to gain time, to doing the second side than you did the first side. It happens all the time.
Yeah. And now that you're saying that, and I'm actually now with the mentality that probably, I mean, if something is wrong, I will have to just redo that, man. Instead of, if in the past I didn't have like the option. I knew that if I have to buy more material,
mm-hmm.
I'll be losing money.
Right.
So I was like set, like don't fail,
Yep. Yep.
Just do it right, man. And I was in my mind with that set because you don't want to, I was thinking at the time that I install this wrong or something happens, it's me losing money. That's it. So, but today I'm trying to say like, hey, if it's wrong, change it, because it's normally, man, in every installation you will have some kind of mistake or something, or, I mean, and I prefer just to know that if it's not working, if it's fingering or something on the side, redo it again,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day too, you were probably in your head a lot, given that you had to pay for the material and all you had to do was put it on. You didn't have the luxury of being able to print it right away or spend that extra money because, you couldn't. You've already given a price. The price is already set. At this point, anything lost is going to be a profit. So, you lose one way or the other. You lose the time. If it's something that you would take you 2 hours to do, now it took you 4 because now you're really worried about not screwing it up. You lost 2 hours. You still lost the money at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you weren't working on something else. But that's repetition. And this is what I tell like new installers that like hit me up on DMs and like, man, what should I do? I rap a little bit and I'm like, do something every day. Rap something every single day because
man.
You need that muscle memory. You need to keep squeegeeing. You need to learn the material. Even if you're just doing like a corner and it takes you 20 minutes, you're doing something. Like figure out how to do that corner every day. Do a little corner. If you can't buy a big roll of film to wrap your whole car, buy a small roll and just work on your technique, work on corners, work on your cuts. Continue to do that every single day and build that technique and build that kind of, your way of doing it, and that's the biggest thing I tell everybody. Just don't lose a day on not doing at least 30 minutes of wrapping something. Like,
yes, man.
Do it every day and you will get better. Guaranteed you will get better every single day. I mean, they say
Definitely.
it takes 100,000 hours or 10,000 hours. I forget. I don't know what the thing is, but to be good at something, every day,
Yes.
every hour is an hour you're losing out, put a squeegee in your hand, vinyl in the other, lay it down, get those hours in.
Definitely, man. Practice is what make the master. And definitely, it's like, since now that you said that, and I was remembering that since I started styling every day, that changed to me. It was like, oh yeah, you understand more vinyl. That's like, okay, I understand how vinyl works. When it's too hot, when how to work with these wrinkles, how to pull in this way to try to get out of the wrinkles. So yeah, I think the only way of understanding that is, when you're doing it every day.
Exactly. It becomes an extension of you almost.
Right. Yeah. You pretty much know, like, oh, I have to pull here. Yes.
Right.
Like, boom.
And it becomes, and like, even going back to where you were then, where you would think and overthink about how you would lay this on. Now, I'm sure since you're doing it every day, you don't even think. You're just like, yep, I gotta put this on. You're taking the backer. Boom. It just becomes repetition. You know what I mean? Like, pull that backer off, stick that sucker on. Let's get a little squeegee going, get a little line, hinge it. And let's pull down. It just, when you're not thinking the way you're rapping, I think that's when it clicks in your head like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like. Like, when you don't really think about what you're doing, you just do it. It's like, oh, okay, well, I just shaved a half an hour doing this side. I wonder why, It's
right.
It's a little bit of the brain. You know what I mean? When you overthink, that's when you make mistakes. Don't overthink it. You need to cut that. You cut that sucker. You don't think. You pull that blade out, snap a fresh blade, and you cut that line. Boom, done. When you start stopping in between, you're like, oh, did I mess that up? Forget about it. You might as well put the blade down, because if you continue, you're just gonna get jagged edges. It just, you gotta be comfortable in doing it, and you gotta be confident in doing it.
Correct. Out of stress.
Yes.
Because in you and in the vinyl, because sometimes you transfer that stress to the vinyl, and sometimes if you are pushing too hard, or so I think if the vinyl doesn't have any stress, it won't pop, it won't lift any. It won't pull later. Mm-hmm. But of course, sometimes you need that stress to, reach some areas. But you want to try to, of course, post heat, right?
Yeah,
I think that's the key.
Yes,
yeah, man.
Absolutely.
I didn't. That happens to me a lot, and learning from professionals that are doing this, it's like I hear that what. How important it is to post heat, man, when you have those stressful parts, and then the game changed.
Yeah. It's that, the vinyl is, yes, the final step, but I think the final step is that post heat. The very last thing you do is should be going through that whole entire vehicle with a heat gun or torch and making sure that thing is hot and not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean?
What I understand is that you have some, pressure in the vinyl in different areas. When you are post heating, you are pretty much releasing, or you being equal. Mm-hmm. Some areas that are, like with less stress, they become a little bit more stress. I don't know if it's called like that, but it will give some of that tension to a part that doesn't have. So,
exactly.
You make it like an equal. So, of course, that next day or next week, when the customers go for 15 days later, you are not looking at those thing,
Popping.
lifting or popping. I hate that, and that's why I can't deal with that.
It's a rapper's worst enemy.
Yes.
A bubble or a pop somewhere. It's, it happens.
What I don't like about that, man, is imagine you as a customer. It's like if you, okay, let me see what's the rap game. He start looking a car, and when he start looking those parts, or maybe some other mistake, I don't know, depend on the starter. That could be a really, strong decision to say, I don't think this is, if it's really bad, he won't think he want to do that in his car.
Right.
Until he probably get more research and understand that he can probably find better shops or better installers that will give him like warranty, and they, it will do like a different type of job. But I mean, that's pretty much the reason that it's important to, close those areas so customers pretty much are gonna be watching that rap. It's not. I always think like it's not only my customer that I need to convince. It's more like all the people that are gonna be watching the rap.
Everybody,
then,
yeah.
Yeah, and looking at my sticker, if I put my sticker there, it's like a really, you should be. I mean, it's your name, man, and you wanna, of course, get business from that rap, but you don't wanna somebody to, what is this shit? What is it?
Yeah,
this thing.
absolutely.
You want people to think that, oh yeah, this place is good,
Oh man, I see it all the time. I mean, I cringe when I see things that are popping that could have been prevented because of a poor installation or a poor technique, and it's sometimes, honestly, it's the most minimalist thing. I have this conversation all the time about the sprinters, to cut or not to cut. What do you do?
Yeah, that's the dilemma.
Yeah. I mean, is there a way to do it? Yes, I say this all the time. I'm not knocking on it. There is a proper way to do it. But in order for you to do it correctly, every single time you do it, you're gambling. In my opinion, just solely my opinion, you're gambling. As opposed to just relief cutting it, dropping that panel in, and leaving that little rolled edge with a nice white line of the van or even a black line. You can even go back and overlay it with a piece of black.
Yeah, man, you got it there, I think, because imagine doing that. If you, for some reason, you need to cut, you make sure that part is going to stay, it's going to be durable.
Right.
Because, I mean, if you fold in, the shop looks amazing. I mean, it looks super cool, like paint, like going in.
Right.
And there are ways of doing that and seal it really good. But as you said, man, in different weathers, that definitely most part of the time that it will be a factor of being the vinyl pulling there. And customer will actually check, like, instead of, oh, how cool looks the design going in, he will say like, oh, what this is a bad company. Your brand is going to put you in a bad position because, they will see the thing lifting. But just doing like you said, cutting and putting the black stripe,
inside,
boom, man,
done.
Yeah. Or if the design is white, or so, if you're going to do that, you can probably work the design to put like some leaving the white part there,
Right.
That sometimes work, so it won't show that much. It will be like, actually won't be visible.
Right. And education, man. It's like, that's the biggest thing. When you can tell the client prior to you doing the job and say, hey, listen, I know you may have not, never in your life, but maybe you might see these vans driving around with a wrap and you may see it popping. The reason why mine don't pop is because I cut them out. You know what I mean? This is my technique. This is what works for me. I don't get the vehicle back because it was poorly installed, or, it's coming back because it's bubbling. This takes that whole element away. This is what I do. This is how I do it. And when they pick it up, they're like, half the time they don't even notice it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just like, oh,
Yeah.
looks great. There's so much going on. That's the least of their worries, worrying about what the color of the inside of the rail is, a half an inch all the way around. You know what? Whatever. I mean, that's, like I said, that's my technique, man. And honestly, till this day, I've never had one come back for any reason. Or I ever got into like some type of like, pissing match argument because I get the question, oh, why did you cut it? Or, it's just letting them know before and letting them know it's going to last longer. And you know what? At the end of the day, they're spending their money. They want to know how long this shit's going to last. That's it.
Yes, that's true, man. Most commercial wrap, they will definitely, like choose durability versus, looking the white.
Right.
Yeah, definitely, man.
It's such a little minute part of the whole thing. You know what I mean? Well, we definitely ran off the rails a little bit. Off topic, but this is what it's all about. This is how the podcast goes for sure. I want to make sure I go back to the timeline from where we were before. So you were still back in Costa Rica, wrapped your brother's cart, right?
Yes, man. From there, I pretty much decide. I mean, I really like the idea of car wraps. That's what I really was. No, actually, I was calling it car graphics.
Car graphics.
Car graphics. Yeah, I started doing decals, and I didn't have any machine or nothing. I just print, in different places, and I started getting more in touch with different materials, and so I sent to print this decal that says car graphics. I still have some of those, man. I mean, the picture of decal, but it was funny when, like, 2 years ago, I saw that picture and I was, wow, man. That was, when I didn't know I was thinking on doing this. So, back, like 5 years ago,
right.
8 years ago, actually. But yeah, I did that, man. But because I didn't have any market for that or experience or nothing, I was pretty much selling business cards and doing graphic designs as a freelance, and did a lot, like 2 years, probably year and a half to 2 years. And man, in a moment, I decide to buy equipment. I needed like a new camera and a better computer. So I was trying to come to the United States, man. At the time, I didn't even have a visa, nothing. I just, I was thinking, I go buy some equipment and come back and continue doing this. I have a dog at the moment that the dog got pregnant, and she has 12 puppies.
Wow.
Actually, we're 11, man. So yeah, so I man, it's too many puppies for me, and I was living alone, so I sell all the puppies. I sold them, and with that money, I buy a ticket and came here, man.
Wow.
But yes, it was, I mean, there is a lot of story in the middle, but that's pretty much
that's the one you're sticking to.
Yes, man. It was fun, man, but I decided to came here as a vacation, and my actual wife today, she was a friend of mine in Costa Rica, and she was living here in Tampa.
Wow.
With her parents. So I came to visit her, and being here, I end up getting married with her, because we have like in the past, we used to be, she was my girlfriend in Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. So we pretty much like reconnect here again. And so we get married, man, and I'm still here from that moment.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, man. So I came trying to buy equipment and vacation and visit, friends. But at the end, I like the way of, all the materials, man. I like how I was moving the business. It's easier to have a business in a way that you can have materials next day in your door. You send something on the email, it's fast. It's like everything was faster, and I was learning a lot. But I still have a lot of customers in Costa Rica, so I was doing graphic design for them, and I was pretty much living from all the money that I was doing in Costa Rica by doing graphic design.
Wow.
So because customers are still like send me, okay, I need this, and I do the design, send it to them. That's a good thing of being a graphic designer is that you can work anywhere. Yeah. So yeah, man. And from there, I start here, getting in touch with print shops, and I start working with print shops doing some designs time to time. And I used to have, the experience that I had in Costa Rica, a little bit of vinyl, and I was in a 3M, like they show up, it was like a full day showing you how to wrap,
right?
How to lay vinyl, So I did that. So I was really, into that, and I was trying to get to wrap cars. So I started here opening market again from zero, and so that was a really hard part, and really that was a story there, man. When I was here, there was a moment that I was just sleeping in my truck.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like sleeping in my truck. Then get with my wife. We started, like, she was working here in a university, because she came here at 15, something like, about that. So we together started, like building, she was all full time in that. And I was doing designs and knowing people here, knowing printers. So I knew this guy that he was printing wholesale. So I started buying the prints for him, for different customers, and he started recommending me to other of his customers to do the installs. But this was just window perf, regular vinyl, like cut vinyl for doors, any kind of signage, pretty much.
Right.
So I was doing that a lot, man. And that was, we were living in an apartment, studio apartment. So I have sometimes, man, I remember having vinyl there, rolls for, installing next day in some place. So a friend of mine a guy that I knew here, he teach me a little bit of how to install, you got to do it this way, move the squeeze in this way. And I'm okay. So I knew, Jeff, that pretty much when I was doing the installation, buying the material, I was pretty much getting the whole business for me, right, instead of just doing a design. But the part that is tricky doing that is that sometimes you lower your design price because you are selling the vinyl, and you know that you are making money on the installation too.
Installation, yeah.
So you said, what is design? Design is just my time, just sitting down, and you're not, it's your time, of course, but it's not like you're buying the product, the tangible vinyl. So you lower your price there a little bit, and that's the tricky part. It's important to pay attention.
Oh my God. Yeah. You can lose hours, you can lose money, profits. That's your extra income. You know what I mean? It's still so a big part, because without the design, you can't create anything.
Definitely. Yes. I will say someone who is doing that, I will say that market himself as a designer only, and then try to say that he's solving the problem, or, I can do actual, if you need, I can print that too and install the whole thing. So at least you can separate those bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's what you have to do at the end of the day.
Yes.
I mean, I used to just bury it in the price. The price would be a little bit higher, but I would tell them, listen, the design cost is in this price, and, based on the hours I'm going to spend, it can either go up from here or it can stay where it is, and people are like, oh, so how many hours do I got? And I'm like, well, maybe 3, 4, with a couple renditions from 3 designs and go from there. And, and if we keep on making changes and we're going around in circles, then the price is going to change. But, it's a very, in the beginning stages, it was very, very tricky to, because back then the vinyl was so expensive, like you said, how can you say, okay, it's going to cost $1,000 for that, but you have to give me $250 for the design too. It's almost like,
yes.
I don't know. It's very tough to have that conversation. And if you start, like you say, if you start from the beginning and say, listen, let's start with the design first. Let's get that paid and get it done. And then we'll work to the next phase of the situation. You know what I mean? And break it down. So now you're walking them through the whole steps,
Yeah, definitely, man. And even being very clear with the customers is, the beginning and everything. That's the key for taking care in your side of losing money. Because it's like saying it like straight, like, okay, man, you know that this design will cost you this, right? And he said, oh, okay, sure. He will say sure if you say it, very like, but
nonchalantly.
Yeah, exactly. It's more, the problem is maybe I remember when you're starting to grow or get your designs or your work on know for other people and starting with new customers is hard because they don't know you. And at the same time, a lot of customers that you will find anything to sell something, maybe this barbershop, this place, wherever you go. So there are people that they think that, or they don't want to pay for nothing else. So you probably have to, to work with that at the beginning, something, at least to get jobs, to get money flowing. That's the important thing, man, at the beginning, I think. Not trying to start like, okay, I'm going to make all the money now. But at least, if you have flow and movement, you start thinking for the next one, I'm not going to do this mistake. I'm going to charge it in this way,
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Cash flow is key. I mean, like living paycheck by paycheck sucks. I mean, we've all been there. I'm sure you've been through it back in Costa Rica, not getting paid what you're supposed to get paid. And especially even that, when you're just underpaid and doing a craft that you're so passionate about, but you feel like you're being underrated, for what you're doing. And, it's hard to make a living. I mean, I don't know what the cost, what would be the cost of a decent paycheck in Costa Rica? What was the cost of living in Costa Rica?
Back in the day, in those days, or now, you mean?
Yeah. Back when you were growing up.
Man, it was like $600 a month.
A month.
Yes.
All right, listeners, put that in perspective. Put that in perspective. An average person would make $600 a month. Now let that just marinate for a few seconds.
Yeah, man. I remember that. That's, of course, I feel today, if I compare today, is much, much better, man. I know people that make a lot of money that are not even in a good, in a big, position.
Yeah.
More like regular. But in that time, I remember, man, it was $700 to $600. That's what you can live with that at the moment, and that was like a good salary, actually. I remember in some years. But imagine, man, yeah.
And you come to America and you're like, oh my God, I gotta work my ass off to pay for, you know, a studio apartment, which probably wasn't cheap. That was probably what, $700-800 a month, maybe?
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
just
at
that
the time was,
alone, just that alone, just to pay for where you lay your head every night would be what you would make in Costa Rica for the whole month.
yes, I remember that. That's true, man. That's true. And here, when I came, it's like, of course, it won't be like everything ready for you. It's like, man, I work here in construction, and one of the things that I used to do is like taking carpets off, you know, from places and throw them, you know, or do things, you know, like helping to remove tile from bathrooms or walls, things like that. Things that you have to do if you don't have enough business to just work in what you like to do.
Right.
But it's good. It's good because doing it in that way, man, you value more everything that you are getting at the time. So it's like, okay, it cost me this, man. So you probably, you know, will take care of or whatever if you're doing more. I mean, it's good to have all those steps, but I was in a moment, you know, without just doing a bike, installing with rolls, you know, driving a bike. But when you know, like, you got friends or things like that, and they will help you too, you know. It was cool at that time. I remember that I fell in a bike and ruined the whole vinyl, and the guy who prints for me, he just said, no, man, don't worry, this is on me. He gave it to me, and I did the install that day. And I remember all that story, you know, like always, like the bike. And
Wow.
so it's good to know that when you got more options, you know, it's growing. It's just like a constant thing that you have to have in your mind. I think like it's a constant work every day, man.
That's just amazing, man. Riding your bike, like the things we take for granted, getting from point A to point B, you know, driving our vehicles, filling up the car with vinyl, putting our tools. Here you are riding a bike to do an install. I can't even imagine, you know, what that setup was like. Would you have like a backpack with all your tools in it and stuff?
Yeah, so I have a backpack and I have a big bag, a plastic bag, you know, and that I put it on the backpack like with straps.
Yeah.
For the rolls. It was for the rolls. It was like 3 rolls that time. And here, man, is I did that in the bike and in public transportation, but it's really bad. For here in Tampa, it's not that bad. I mean, but it's more like it's slow. You know, you don't have all the access for the city, so it's a lot of time that you waste if you're in public transportation. I used to run with one box full of, you know, sprayers, things like that, and the other for putting the rolls of vinyl. But it was a short time, and at the time that I can just get a car and start working with a truck. I mean, I get a first a sedan, and then I get a truck. With that truck, man, I start making much more installs. I have ladders, so I can put the ladders in. I was changing signs, like this kind of acrylic signs that are in the plazas.
Yeah.
You pull the acrylic off and change the vinyl. That's what I was doing pretty much a lot. Yeah.
Unbelievable, man. But even still, you know, a lot of us, you know, I commend you for that, man. I feel like you've gone through quite a bit to get to where you are now in these little tiny struggles, you know. I mean, just an amazing story, you know, having a dog, having puppies, and using that money that you made to get here and riding a bike to dude, just unbelievable, man. I commend you so much to get to where you are now, because I'm sure you are so appreciative to the type of shop and environment that you're in now, just a few years later, you know what I mean? And what you're doing for the industry, man. It's just amazing. I love hearing stories like that. Thank you so much for sharing that, man. That's just, it's an inspiration.
Yeah, definitely, man.
A lot of us get burnt, you know, with jobs and this, that, and the other thing. And here you are doing something that you're so passionate about and doing and going through anything that you have to get through to get to where you need to get and where you feel most comfortable and to provide obviously for your family, for your friends, you know, whoever, you just don't stop. You know what I mean? You keep pushing forward. I feel like, you know, obviously we don't know each other than social media, but I feel like you're the type of person that values things and doesn't look things as a negative, but almost like a positive. Like you have to go through this path in order to get to where you need to get. So you kind of, you're appreciative about it. You're like, hey, I have to ride my bike today. I'm going to ride my bike. It is what it is. But you know what?
Yes.
Next month, after riding my bike, I'm going to save all that money and I'm going to buy myself a car. And that car is going to make me more money. And you just, little by little, path by path, you open up doors, you open up opportunities, and you just keep pushing forward, man. You are the epitome of what it means to come here to America and live the American dream. Honestly, it's just amazing.
Man, yeah, I will. Actually, the way you're saying it looks, I mean, it's amazing, you know, too, because it's true, man. I definitely thinking that any person, just by being human, you are set to do anything, man, and do a lot of things that you don't imagine you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like that idea. And when I pass those moments, you know, different moments in my life, because it's of course, it's more involved on all the story, right? But when you do that in the bad moments, I actually don't think like too bad, like, oh man, you know, that was so bad for me. You know, I try to think like, this is exactly what makes me today. And this is exactly what I needed,
right.
To, you know, to try to step up, you know, because sometimes if everything is easy for us as humans, man, we don't do nothing, man.
Lazy.
You know, we pretty much, yeah, we will be like sitting down there. Yeah, that's it. It's ready, man. And it's better when you learn all the steps because you know how it takes. And when you're working with people too, you know, you as a manager, as an owner, you know, and you understand these positions that people are doing better, so you can be a better leader for, you know, for the company or whatever organization you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally agree, man. And like I said, I think you need to be commended for that because, you know, all of us have a story, you know, on how we got into this. And I'm so thankful that I reached out to you. And again, thank you for sharing that because it just puts things in perspective for a lot of us when we listen to things like this and where we all came from and what type of struggles. This is the reason why I wanted to build this podcast, because who other than your family members would actually know what you've done to get to where you are now? Probably nobody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Most that's true, man. Most part of the time, people, even when you know people like the big shops or these owners, man, or people, you know, they're very successful doing some specific business. There is a lot of the things that nobody knows for sure, man. Nobody know what it takes to do that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, success is not overnight. I don't care what anybody says. And, you know, the Hollywood movies and all that stuff, it's just not how it works. You have to go through a lot of stuff before you get to where you're going. You know,
definitely, man.
Like you said, it's not, if it was easy, everybody be doing it. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yes.
That's just amazing. So fast forward to you getting your vehicle, getting some wheels, getting you from point A to point B a lot faster, starting to make money. Take me after that where you are now.
2011, March 14, I started a company, as start paying taxes, all that. It's the corporation. So, but I didn't have a shop at the moment. I was just working on my apartment when I was living with my wife.
Yeah.
So she always were involved in everything that I was doing. So she understands like what is a vector at that time, what is Illustrator, what is Photoshop. She was understanding all that, and I was doing like part-time in other jobs, part-time selling business cards, installing things. And from there, man, we moved, selling all that. We moved to a house. We bought a house, and when I was looking at the house, I told my realtor, hey, you know what I really need? It's a garage. I mean, that's for sure. And I remember she was telling me like, hey, this house is exactly where you need. Look at that. And where's the garage? Why you need a garage? Nobody uses garage anymore. She was saying, nope. It has to have a garage, man. And it's because of that. I was thinking on, putting the mini shop there. And
smart.
So we found this. It was a one car garage, but man, it was the space for putting, I closed the whole thing, and I buy this plotter I remember I did it with a credit card, the Graphic C60. It's the 30 inches. And at that time it was like $2,200.
Wow.
And with that machine, man, I start cutting, reading and doing letters. So the game, that's the machine that starts everybody in this.
Yes.
Everybody in this industry knows that's the beginning of, getting into the shop.
Absolutely.
That machine, man. Yes. So I get that machine, and I start buying my prints for, a wholesaler here a local wholesaler. And I built this table 4x8, put, a roll of Frankfurt tape in 1 tube on the side of the table.
Yeah.
I have, the computer, and pretty much with that, I was selling all the prints by wholesaler, and the cut vinyl, I was doing it myself there.
In-house, yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing, because a lot of people wouldn't think long term to be like, oh, we're going to buy a house. I need a garage because I need to make this work.
Yeah, that is true. Correct. It's important.
Ugh.
Yeah, I was set to do that, man. I was like, I'm not a person that is going to go to work for somebody. It's like more like I needed that space, man. And I need to do something that I really like to do. And at the day that I am tired of that, I have to start thinking and changing,
Right. So
that it was like, that's actually most people need always to think in that way, because man, life is short, man. Time is so fast, man. So fast.
Agreed.
But yeah, going back there, man, I was doing the plotter with the plotter. One day, the guy, the wholesaler, he called me and he told me, hey man, do you want my Mimaki? He has a JV 150. Man, it was obsolete at that time. It's super old Mimaki.
Wow.
He said, do you want this Mimaki? If you want it, come and pick it up now.
What?
You for real, man? And yes, I'm changing machine, and that because the machine was obsolete. There's no more parts for that, so
Right.
head wasn't working that well, but it still was, good. So man, I just grabbed the truck super fast, man. I was there in 5 minutes in his door, like, hey man, you serious?
That's
Yes,
awesome.
man. he helped me pull the machine in. So man, imagine I was super happy because that was I always wanted to have the machine in house
Right.
because it's good. I mean, I love actually to buy from wholesaler. It's like depending on what are you doing. But what happened with me was that for the volume that I have, I need things so fast that I didn't have the time to wait. I needed to, I needed fast. So it was when I sent some artwork, it was like, it wasn't ready when I needed sometimes,
Right.
So of course, if depends on the time frames of this wholesaler, right?
How busy?
Probably
You're in the mercy of, how busy they are.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes. The good thing is that you're not, man, wasting ink. You are not cleaning print heads. You are not worry about, the head,
Head strikes.
crashing.
Yeah.
Head strikes, all that.
Yeah.
So, but in the same time, man, you having the material, you're making money too with that machine,
Right.
If you put the machine to work. But man, as soon as I had that Mimaki, he was so happy and I put it there in the garage. So head wasn't that good, but what I was printing pretty much with the Mimaki were banners and window perf.
Wow.
So you know that if you have some banding and those materials doesn't show up that much.
Right.
Compared to the vinyl because the holes and because the texture of the banner. So they were acceptable, not the quality that I want, but they were acceptable.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So man, I take advantage of the machine for like a whole year and it make money with the machine until it wasn't working at all more. No more. Fixing the machine it was more expensive than buying the price of the machine, the whole machine. Right. So, I take it to the junk place and sell it there.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
How long did you have it for?
A year.
Just 1 year? Did you make some money?
You
made money using it?
Oh yeah, man, definitely.
Totally worth it.
I used it for a year selling those banners and window prep. So it was. It made me money for a whole year, and then I sell it there in the junk place. Boom, yeah.
Hey, you know what? Did you? So, what did you do? Did you transition now? Like, did you feel like, hey, after you got rid of the printer, you're like, you know what? I need another printer. I make way too much money having it in house to not have it in house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The fact that I actually, that printer came maybe in the middle of me trying to get a new printer, but I don't have the money to pay cash for a printer and I didn't want to pay like a used one because man, I don't know. You don't know how it's like, it's luck, man. Maybe. I just wanted a new one. It will be better, more, thinking in more long term. But of course, the money is the thing that you need to have, right?
Absolutely.
So man, I was trying to get money from banks in different ways, like loans. I was declined, man, because I just started building my credit here. I had just 5 years. So I don't have any history, man. Like, so they say it's good, but it's so new your credit. So that was a problem for me. But, I got a third party company that, lend me the money. Boom. Buy the machine at HP 360. And with, it was like, this company was, the place that I buy the machine, they found me this, company that does the credit for buying the machine.
For the loan.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, for the loan. So it was good, man. And you end up paying like pretty much $3,000 more, $4,000 more. Man, you can have that money with I don't know, 2 wrap, 1 wrap.
Totally.
So yeah, I say, yeah, man, this is good. In that machine really changed the game completely for a shop, because I mean, it was faster for me. So I can produce faster and get the material faster. This is the machine that I have now, man. And every time that I get, a step on this business, always I'm thinking like, man, this is going to work or no? Should I do this?
Yeah.
Or no, man? It's a lot of, that it's not like I always did everything like, yes, this will be good. No, man. Sometimes, just getting that machine was a lot of thinking.
Oh yeah, because you know why? It's because it's now become, I don't want to say a problem, but now it's become an investment, and now you have to pay money into it. And how about if it breaks? Or how about if it this? And it's just, you don't want to have something that you're throwing money at that's not returning back quickly enough for you. And it's, you know what? At the end of the day, we all do it. When you're trying to buy a big purchase, how much was that machine when you bought it or financed it? What, 18 grand, 16 grand, maybe a little bit more?
18. Yeah, this was an 18 grand machine, the 360.
So do the math. You had to pay $3,000 more for interest and all that stuff to have the loan. You're paying $21,000 over what? 3 years, 5 years, depends on whatever you loaned it for. I mean, you have to guarantee that money every month to make that payment.
Correct. Yeah, man.
That's a scare.
Yes, that's the whole, that's exactly the point, because even when I remember, I mean, if you're by yourself, but at that time I was married already, so I was, to keep up. So okay, I'm going to be paying this monthly for this machine. So how much more I have to sell?
Right.
But of course, in the other hand, you would say, yeah, the machine are going to provide me, it's going to supposed to be a tool for doing more sales, more in your numbers.
Right.
So yeah, definitely, man. And what happened is that when I got the machine, I didn't have the laminator, but my wife at the time, she had some money. She bought a new laminator.
Wow.
So yeah, man, she had some money saved. That's when she became, to start getting into the business. She started working more. She started studying Illustrator and Photoshop, just those like a separate courses, and to understand how to run the program.
Mm-hmm.
So she was helping me too, doing some graphic design. For the time that she has been designing, I think she's really good. And I, of course, try to tell him like whatever I can remember, because I think design as a whole the good design is there, man. Sometimes I don't do that good design, and I tell people, no, I don't like this, even if I did it. I think it's not right. It's not what I wanted.
Right.
But, so you have to understand, as a designer, knowing that is really good, knowing when it's good, when it's not, and being honest with yourself too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You hit the nail right on the head with that comment. Being honest with yourself, not letting it go just because you want to let it go. It's taking pride in it. You know what I mean? Yeah,
definitely.
Totally agree with you on that.
It's something that pretty much, you don't want to be, when you're thinking that you are good there, or your designs are, they are, you probably are missing a lot, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, it's really good. For example, as we were saying, like looking at the Dan Antonelli designs, I say, yes, man, this is good. And if you are a designer, you should say the same thing,
right? Because
this is clean. He's working a lot on that, and that's the what you like. When you saw something, you have to be, this is good, and not being so proud of yourself as a designer that only, not to say that, right?
Right. 100%. 100%. So now having the shop, now, do you have a separate shop now, or are you still in a bigger garage near your house.
No, man, that was the other step to take. It was the moment of moving from my garage to this shop. And man, this is a 1,400 square feet shop.
Wow.
It's small, man. And I can have one car at a time inside. So it's a lot of organization to schedule. So,
cars are in and out.
Correct. Yeah, man. Yeah. I can have probably one here and two out or one out, waiting, or at least, prepping whatever it needs to be that could be done outside. And then when the car is here inside, start working, as fast as possible. But of course, man, I will like so much more now to have more cars at the same time inside. We start needing that right now.
Yeah, more garage space.
Oh yes, definitely, man.
Yeah,
definitely.
I was gonna say, how long have you been in this shop now?
In this shop, man, it's gonna be 3 years now.
Wow.
3 years, yeah. That was a big decision to do. Like, hey, should we move to the shop? I'm gonna be able to pay now, the rent every month. So that's the moment that you're like, wow, it's a scary decision to take. But if you say you're gonna, you said that you have to do it, and the best thing is what could be wrong? If something doesn't go the way you want it, you learn from that.
You can't. You can't be afraid to fail. That's you know what, and it's true. The way the saying goes, you never, if you're afraid to fail, you never get ahead. You know what I mean? I feel like you get too comfortable and you stay in one spot, and it's just, you wonder what it would have been if you just made that step. And some people miss out opportunities,
Yes, that's true, man. That is super true. It's like, definitely, what is the worst thing that could happen? Is that something that I think, and if that happens, can I fix it, or can I go from there? Yeah, definitely, man.
100%.
Sure, man. From there, what I was telling you is that we have here 3 years, and right now still have the printer and the printer plotter and table to work. Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty much the shop today. Yeah.
That's amazing. And who do you have working with you now other than yourself and your wife?
I have a designer. She's a designer, man. Is really good. And I have a installer that they work with me, and they start working with me like probably about one a year ago, and the other one probably about some months ago.
Wow.
And it had been really good, man. They are really, the good thing about the people that I'm working now is the passion they have for what they are doing. So, man, as a business owner, one of the difficult things is to find people that want to work with you and that want to work the way you want to work. And, they will be like, a source of growing for your business.
Right.
Too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. They can't be a crutch, or they can't be, and you know what, even looking at it on the other token, as a business owner, even on that aspect, some businesses don't grow because they're not able to let go of certain aspects of the business. Like you're well-rounded. You can do design, you can do production, and you can do the install. Not too many people can do all that in this industry. You're either good at one particular thing and you kind of know the other two things, or you just know one thing, which is design, and you don't know how to install. You can't do production. Case closed.
So totally true, man.
So I think
that was an advantage to me when I was by myself.
Hell
because I
yeah.
didn't have to pay nobody to do that. Yeah,
Hell
for sure, man.
yes. Yes.
Yes.
And you were able to reap the benefits of that because you didn't have to pay somebody else to do it. But as you go through your growing pains, you start noticing, hey, I can't do everything. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah, no, not at all, man.
And then you micromanage, and then you're not able to let things go. Oh no, it's got to be done this way. It gets tough being a business owner because, like you said, you want things to be done your particular way or this way, sort of. You know what I mean? Do how you do and do it yourself and figure it out. But here's a little stepping stone. This is kind of how it works. You create a different way to doing it. Great. As long as it gets you faster and it doesn't slow you down, I'm okay with it. You know, some people are just micromanaging, and your business never grows when you're always on top of people and always checking things. It's just, you got to let your employees, that's what you pay them for, to do the job. Just let them do their job. And if they do something wrong, then you fix the problem and then move on, you know?
Totally agree, man. That's a different mindset that you have to acquire when you are, one thing is being a designer or an artist, and then that you like art. And I know you are an artist too, and so most of the people in this industry, man, I know some guys that are doing so good, and there are some so cool things, shops that are amazing to visit, and check how they are working and the space they have, there's a lot of places to learn, but you understand that one thing is being that, the mindset for art, to be an artist is one thing. Being a business owner is a totally different set, mindset that you have to understand. So, because you can be on the computer just being inspired doing this. It's more like, okay, man, I need to make money. Pretty much. That's the end of the business, make money.
Right.
That's what you're doing, because it's really cool to do a nice design. It's really cool to install the wrap, but at the end you have to go and pay your mortgage, pay your car, you pay, the food for your family, all that. So that's the business. Yes. Making money and having people, when you start working with people, is pretty much understanding how to do that process better, for the production that you're doing. And that involves that you have to trust the person that is doing that, instead of you being, no, I want it in this way. And it has been actually hard for me in some moment, because I have been doing all myself. Mm-hmm. There was a moment when I came to this shop, it was only me. And there was a moment that it was super hard, because it was me answering the phone, taking the order, writing the email, doing the estimate, sending the invoice, printing, laminating, then cutting the panels, then installing the vehicle, then, going back to the design. So, man, when people start calling you like, hey, what's up with this, man? It's like, how long that I ordered this and you don't even send me the first proof? They don't understand, of course, what's happening in my site, right? Right. They are like, this dude is lazy, or what's going on? Yeah. And it's like, no, man, it's happening a lot. But at the same time, you're so many things, and you cannot grow from there, by yourself in this kind. I think, at least in my opinion, in this kind of business, it's like you need people if you want to grow with different products. Now, if you're an owner that are really high-end installer, and you can handle some very focused, man, just this. I just do this. These are my prices. Of course, you can just work by yourself and make a lot of money too.
Right. Yeah. Right. I think the magic number is 3 employees.
3?
Yeah. I think plus you need a designer, you need a installer, and you need a salesperson. I think that's like the perfect number. 3 to start, at least. You know what I mean? That will alleviate,
totally, yes.
That will alleviate a lot of your frustrations, and answering the phones all the time, because we all know, man, if that phone's ringing and you see a number you don't know and you don't pick it up, you feel like you're losing money.
Yes, true.
You know what I mean? It's like, and then the habit, you know, it's feast or famine. It's, you don't pick up the phone, you're not making money. And then what happens? You know, you spend 20 minutes on the phone talking to a new client, and whether they come in or they don't come in, you've just wasted 20 minutes on the phone that you weren't installing and finishing up a job. So now you just tack 20 minutes onto your day, which we all know we all work really late sometimes, and we all have families. We try to get out 5, 6 o'clock every day, et cetera, and we never do. It's because of that. We answer the phones. We talk to too many people. We don't give the responsibilities to the employees enough to handle those types of situations. And, you know, I mean, you can only do that for so long before you realize that, you know, you got to change your ways. Definitely have to change your ways. There's a lot of great people out there doing a lot of great things. They're able to take vacations, get out of the shop for a week, let the shop run itself. You know, when you can get to that status, holy shit.
Oh, yes.
That is such a weight lifted off your shoulders. Cause then you feel like, you're like, okay, you know what? It's not about me anymore. It's the team. The team is H5 Wraps. We are a team, and I'm able to step away and let the team still run the shop. I mean, that has got to be, as a business owner, that has got to be the biggest accomplishment you could possibly get to a point to have. You know what I mean?
Sure, man, definitely. I'm actually, man, definitely in that way of thinking right now. I'm like, I don't want to be more like me doing, I did all that too much. And it's not like I want to keep doing all that. It's more like, you know, getting a little apart, because I have other things at the same time that I would like to do. Mm-hmm. And I know that, I mean, even just my family right now, I have a daughter. It's a baby. It's 16 months. Oh. And I have another one.
Oh, so, congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. So imagine that I want to spend at the same time, you know, time with them is good, man, because at the end, I mean, if you spend all the time here in the shop, it's a really cool place. If you like design, wrapping, and you like vinyls, all that. But, I mean, you start thinking that that's everything. And it's not, man. There's more things going on outside that needs to be balanced.
Right.
So it's hard when you have to work more, because I did that in several years that you don't have the time. The good thing is that now that I'm having a kid, at least I have a little more time I try to do the most of the time to spend with the baby, you know, but it's difficult, man, because I know you have kids too, and and you have all this experience, man, that I have been hearing, you know, some other podcasts that I hear your story. It's really cool, man. Design flows, right? It's flow.
Design flow. Yep. Yeah,
design flow. I remember that one. Yeah. And I know you understand all that. And a lot of people that are in this industry, that's another dilemma, I think, you know, the hours you're working in the shop and how you're spending time with your family. So I hear a lot of people talk about that, and definitely it's really important too.
It's a very big topic, and you know, it's tough on the spouses, it's tough on the family, it's tough on the kids, and you know, I mean, I went through a lot of shit. You know what I mean? I didn't spend time with my kids when they were younger. I lost a lot of time, you know, spending with them. I lost out on a lot of vacations because I wanted to wear all the hats. I wanted to be the provider. I wanted to work and make sure my kids were taken care of. But at the same time, It's like, great, yeah, my kids were taken care of, but I didn't get to spend that time with them to enjoy it. You know what I mean? You lose that, and having a business, you lose your time. You know what I mean? That time you can't get back. Money can always be made tomorrow.
Totally,
Money's made every day, every second, every millisecond of the day. Money is made. When you lose time, you can't get that back, man. That is
nice, man.
That to me is worth all the money in the world. If I could get that time back with my kids to spend more time when they were growing up and not, always like daddy's at work or daddy's always at work or, oh, okay, where's dad? Oh, no, he's at work. It's just, when you hear that so much, you realize like, holy shit, I spend more time at my shop than I do at home. That is not healthy for you or your family. It's just, now I look at things very differently. My mindset is I've done a 180 on basically how I would want to run my business. You know what I mean? And
you're back in the business, right? You're doing it.
I'm doing things a little bit part-time because I have a full-time job that's not rap related, and I'm trying to get back into it. I just don't know what I want to do, and because it is so different now than it was back then. When I started my business back in 2004, 2005, it was completely different than what it was now. It is a little bit harder to start a rap business now, at least for me in my area. It's just, for me to go back to where I was, it would take me another 3 to 5 years,
Right. No. That, I mean, anyway, that this industry has so many, like branches or ways to go at the same time. It doesn't have to be like one specific, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't want to interrupt you.
No worries. I mean, I still rap for friends. When they need help, I'll help them out. I've got older clients that will hit me up and be like, hey, I know you're not in the industry, but I know you have my files. Okay, yeah, I'll help you out a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to say no to money. I still need to provide, you know what I mean? If I can do it after my full-time job and it doesn't affect my family time, absolutely I'll do it. You know what I mean? That just gets me a one-up on, being able to save money for, a trip with my kids, a vacation with my kids. It's just a little extra. It's just me doing it full-time all the time. Maybe not in my cards for right now, but getting back into the industry full time, maybe managing a shop or helping out a shop and being of value, because at the end of the day, I put in 12, 13 years. I know the industry in my area, you know what I mean? Inside and out, commercial, and, I have a lot to bring to the table,
Oh yeah, I mean, just by having this podcast, man, you pretty much are in one of those, branches or parts that is actually really important, because I gotta tell you, and I'm actually thankful that you have this podcast, because since I started, hearing conversations and all these guys that you interview, of course, you're learning a lot. A lot. It's no brainer, man. It's like you're just hearing what other people are doing and the way they are doing and what happened here and there, and you start, of course, having a bigger perspective, to, in the case if you're running the shop, or if you are just a designer or whatever position you have in this industry. So it's really good, man. This podcast, definitely.
I appreciate that, man. And it's nice to get away from, the stuff you see on social media. You get a little bit more personal with them. They allow you into their lives and the greatest thing is me walking with you through this path, through this journey that you're, letting us in, being so vulnerable and, telling us all the stuff you had to go through to get to where you are now. It's just, I'm so appreciative to all the guests. And honestly, at the end of the day, this was just an idea that I had, because I had a small hiatus out of the industry for so long. I needed to feed that urge. It was so many times I'd wake up and be like, oh my God, something at the shop. And I had to stop myself and be like, I don't have a shop anymore. The anxiety I would have.
Wow.
I would wake up the day I gave my key to my shop to the landlord. I'm going to tell you straight out. I never cried so hard in my life on my ride home that Friday, because the thing that scared me the most, driving to work every day for 13 years to a business that was yours, to just stop it. You know what I mean? You realize, what am
13 years, man. Wow.
What are you going to do on Monday? That is what fucking scared the shit out of me. What am I going to do on Monday? I mean, think about it. Think about it.
Yes.
If, Friday, you give your keys away and your business is gone, how are you going to feel like that Saturday morning or that Monday morning when you wake up and you have that routine that you've had for 13 years? That's scary shit, man. And you know what? It took me a good year to get over that. A year to get over that.
A year.
Anxiety, depression. It's all I knew, man. I taught myself a lot of it. I learned. I built relationships. It's like, even to now, it's going to be 3 years in April. I've been somewhat out of the industry, not being a shop owner. It's taken me this long to be like, okay with it. You know what I mean? And building the podcast has fueled my kind of fire inside. You know what I mean? It's filling that void that I once had and filling it up. And on top of that, which was never my intent, it was more of a selfish thing on my end. This podcast was more of a selfish thing on my end because I wanted to come back and talk to people and listen to people in the industry and really kind of get my wheels turning again, fuel that fire, like I said. But it's turned into something so much bigger. It's been, called a resource. People are listening to it because they're gathering information. I'm just like, holy shit. Maybe at the end of the day, me being in the industry, being a business owner, figuring things out myself all those years, maybe the podcast was what I was meant to do. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, I don't do it full time. I interview people a couple times a week. I take time out of my day after work and I talk to people and, do my editing and put it out. I don't really charge anything for it. It's kind of like, it's kind of is what it is. But at the end of the day, I love talking to everybody, man. I can't even tell you. I get so fired up when I get someone to commit to a date and a time and I'm just like, oh my God, yes. Talk to somebody else next week. Like, I've been thinking about you and I's conversation today all day. That's all I've been thinking about. Oh man, what questions am I going to ask? Man. What are we going to talk about? What's going to come up? And I like the not knowing part. Honestly, we've been talking almost 2.5 hours,
Wow.
And it goes by quick. And like, we've talked about so much and, go off the rails and talk about family and talk about other things. And it's, this is what it's all about. Free Speech Network. This is what we can talk about, whatever we want, when we want. But at the end of the day, man, this is feeding me so much. This is like feeding me so much more than it's feeding everybody else, man. It's just, I'm so humbled. I'm so happy that everybody listens in and puts their feedback and wants to be on the show. And it's just amazing, just amazing. But who knows what the future lies? You know what I mean? And like you said before, early in the podcast, you know, when you don't have that passion anymore, it's okay to feel like, okay, that was one chapter of my life. Time to go on to the next chapter. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm doing this next chapter and everybody's watching me. You know what I mean? Cause all the listeners and everybody on social media, it's so great, man. I'm so humbled. And the podcast honestly wouldn't be what it is without the guests. Cause at the end of the day, it's all about you guys. If it wasn't for you guys coming on and sharing and being vulnerable and telling us your experiences, who would listen? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's just amazing. It's just amazing. I mean, you have got probably one of the top 3 stories that I've heard, and we're creeping on 62 episodes, man. You've got I mean, come on. Think about it. Go back. I mean, I'm not going to reiterate it again about the dogs thing, but man, to have dogs to sell the puppies and take that money to come here and be where you are now, man. Just like, I love that. I just freaking love that. It's amazing. And I know you probably think about it a lot. You know what I mean?
Man, yes. It's like sometimes it's a different when you're, hey man, I'm here and I have been here 8 years, you know, like I came from a totally different lifestyle and on a different, mindset and everything. And then of course when you have family and everything, but yes, it's good to know, to remember. Sometimes that makes me like, hey, hold on, man. When the chips are down, I'm like, hold on, I remember that time when I was doing that maybe. So I'm happy now, man, of being here at least, you know, trying to go forward. And it's good. I think it's everything about what are your thoughts, pretty much. That's what for everybody, man, because everybody has so many stories on. If you start talking with people, you will understand. Like you were just saying now, you know, all your story, what happened, and all you are just giving us like a little bit of that, but there is, you know, that is more involved there, and you remember, and you know, everybody has this kind of stories, and it's more like the good thing is always keep that mindset and the positive, you know, like yes, we're gonna do this, and we could do this, man. It's like, what is stopping us? You know, we are free, man. We have to make sure that freedom is true, you know, and go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Take advantage of it, man. It's there.
Yes. And sometimes you are relying on, oh man, but this is my problem. You know, this is what I have this, and that's the reason I cannot do that. I know this guy has a better position in that moment, or maybe a better opportunity, but that's not true, man. You are in a level, and pretty much whatever level you are, you decide if you're gonna continue going up or
game
stay
over.
There.
Game over.
Maybe it's like the place you want to be. I think it's more like if you're happy in whatever you are, right. I think that's a win. You know, you that's at the end what everybody's looking forward to. You know, be happy. I'm cool with this. This is the life that I want. Yeah,
that's it. You know, I wanted to talk a little bit too about you know, coming here, starting a business, getting everything all squared away and getting your shop. In your opinion, what was the hardest part for you, in opening your shop? What was the scariest thing? What was the thing that kept you up at night that you're just like, oh my God, like.
Starting like the shop out from my house?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, it was like pretty much, the consistency that you have to be there, you know, like, you have to be there every day in these specific times, and, keep up on that with your customers. So the location, of course, if you are in a really public area,
Mm-hmm.
is super important. You have to be open, of course, right, all the time. Different as if you are in a hidden place, you probably could close, nobody will know.
Right. Putting those hours on the door and making sure that you're there when they're open.
Yes,
That's
correct.
always key,
Yeah, man, that thing, and then being able to pay, pay in time, so you have the money to pay everything and go from there.
That's amazing. So that was your biggest kind of stress
Yes,
as far
yes,
as,
that was my stress. Like I was thinking, like, is this gonna work? I mean, and so many times I have been thinking on closing, like, no, man, I don't want to do this. There was moments that you just want to continue, but as long as I have the chance to, get the chance to feed my family and grow, know that I'm growing,
mm-hmm.
You will say, like, no, hold on, I'm gonna keep doing this, man. If you, what I notice always is like the cliche, saying that if you keep doing the same things, you won't be receiving different results, right? You have to
Right.
change whatever you are doing to change your results. So that's part of the process. But that was my scariest part, pretty much, knowing that I will keep up with everything, and at the same time, my wife will be stopped. She stopped working for that time because we were having the baby and everything. So it was a hard moment to start. But as soon as you start knowing that having the place allows you to get more business too, so that's a good, opportunity to take advantage too. Understanding that if you have a shop, you have the option of producing more faster, and you're not working at your house. You have to leave your house, come to the shop, and go back in a different setups. Your house, your shop, your shop, different places.
Yes, agreed. It's so much harder because you kind of blend the two at times. Being too close to home, you bring your work home too much, and then
Yes.
that could be tough as well.
Yeah, true, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're there, or sometimes if you're working on home and designing, you keep doing designs overnight, I mean, it's not, for me, it was better when I moved out. It was the more, the time was more specific for doing things. If I'm working here. As soon as I leave here, I try to, forget about everything and, do other stuff.
Right.
Much.
Right. And that all goes back to home is home, family's family, and work is work.
Yeah.
Healthy relationship.
Yes. I'm trying to get that balance at least. True, man.
I mean, we're all trying to find that happy medium. You know what I mean? It's just, you gotta find that balance, and it's better to find it sooner than later,
True. Try to change the way you are doing things, if they are not working, and do it until you can, you have the right option for you.
Right.
So you can, distribute your time in a wiser, I guess.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. I was going to say, who's your biggest influence? Do you have anybody that you kind of look up to? Doesn't have to be, rap industry related, but anybody that you may listen to, if you listen to other podcasts or read any books that you kind of get motivated by reading them or listening to them, or even someone on social media.
Yes, something I hear a lot of. I don't have like the specifics, but I hear, like, try to hear sometime podcasts like Gary V.
Yes.
I like to hear Gary V, man. It's like I mean, I think that guy every time I listen to him, it's like, yes, that is actually true, man. And you understand that if you hear him for a moment, you probably think, what is he talking about? But when you know a lot of his ideas and the concept, but he's telling, it's pretty much, you know, is more reality, like for a business owners or entrepreneurs and all that. Um, yeah, I like, in the industry, man, it's very cool. All these professionals, that are, the guys for, Rap Institute, all the places that show you how to do, everything, on installations or designing or, Frank Fellers. Frank Fellers is, I have a really close the shop here
Yeah.
from my shop. The Fellers shop is really, 5 minutes. So I always been understanding all the things, the way he do the things, the way he does this business, the way he market the business is, you kind of learn a lot from that, and his story, of course, man. The story he has. But that's something, some guys that I just remember now, and I try to read from other books, but, not like I have like a specific, man. Sorry.
Yeah, no
Okay.
worries. Yeah,
Yeah.
just anyone that influences you. I mean, there's so many people out there, rap related or not rap related, that just, help a ton of us out, that, whether, they help us as an entrepreneur or help us as a better, individual. I always say, if you have to be you have to be healthy in order to, be well for everybody else around you. Like, if you're not well, no one else is well. You're not going to make anybody feel good if you're always down. And, mental health and just physical health, getting out of the realm of your daily routine, like you said, switching it up once in a while. It's so good for you. It's just unbelievable. Changing it up a little bit.
Yes, man, definitely. Yes. It's super important I always try to hear different, I use YouTube a lot to, for different topics. So that's what a lot of, it's a good point or source for me for information, of course, to, watch videos. I like to create these videos too. So I'm start learning to do that. So it's, like a nice hobby that I have. But you hear a lot of people there that are talking this the TED Talks,
Yeah.
and things like that, that are really, I'm trying to get a little bit of everything, from different people around the world today, even more with this social media, communication. Sometimes I hear, somebody talking about some specific topic, and I don't even remember his name at the end. I was, what was that? Who was that, man? But it was great that what I was, what he was saying, or things like, regarding business or life,
Right. Yeah. And going back on the movies, on the videos rather, that you create, they're great, because I've seen them on YouTube. I watched them on your website, dude. It's just amazing. And it's phenomenal to watch you rap, because, and I want to talk about some, particular, install, which was the trailer rap. You pre-seamed all the panels to go do this job at the job site. It was just amazing to watch you do that. You were outside, you had it all pre-seamed, corner, and just peeled everything all off,
Yes.
Is that how you try to do a lot of your raps when they're paneled like that, and just pre-seam them?
Man, yes. I was doing installs for a lot of trucks, and, like that for, a bakery. What's the name of this place? Like Thomas. I don't know if you heard about that brand, and Sarah Lee. They have,
yeah.
they hire people to just install those graphics. So I was doing a lot of that by panels, separate panels.
Right.
And I think it took me always too much time to do the register when I was, on the one panel is installed and then putting the other one. I don't know. It wasn't so good for me. I didn't like to do that when I was installing, but I learned how to lay seam those panels on the table. And man, I think for me, it's actually faster to put it in that way. The only thing is you have to be very patient, and make sure you're gonna, like you said, taking the paper, correctly and not, it's scary because it's a really big piece.
Oh my God.
But,
yeah.
Yes.
A lot of things can go wrong.
Correct. Yeah. What I try to do is secure, the corners.
Yep.
First, and then as much, at the time that I'm taking the liner off, I'm trying to go, secure, make sure that won't move and close the ends. So no, it's not like wind or dust.
Get up underneath
inside.
it.
Yes, that's correct. So yeah, but man, it was fun. I think that video you're saying, it took me like 13 hours. No, it was like 10 hours to wrap the whole trailer. It was a full day there. I ended up like at 9 p.m.
How did you learn that technique? You just saw someone do it and was like, oh, I'll try that.
Yes. I saw someone doing it, here, an installer that came one time, because in certain point, man, I was just hiring installers. I was just doing design, and I hired an installer to come here and do that. And I saw one time that guy doing that, and I saw it was like faster. And of course, he has a Rolly Pro too. And I said, hey man, that's a really good tool. Like he was burning that down and passing the roll down. And I was, yes, man, that's speed. So yeah, I saw that, and the part that I don't like is when you are seaming those panels and you get those wrinkles, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you press the squeegee, man, and that happens to me in when I was starting doing that, but I'm trying to avoid it now with the way I'm doing it on the table. I got like a better technique, I guess. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, how long does it take you to panel to pre-seam everything, kind of? For like, how long did it take you to pre-seam that particular job?
Man, probably like 2 hours.
Really?
1 hour, no, 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, yeah. The thing is that I do it by parts. I try to, because if I know that pre-seam that is going to take me a lot of time and I'm going to be losing time, I will try to, just install panel by panel. But if I have the time to do like half first and then the other half, boom, I got all ready. I know that in the install time, it will be much faster.
Right.
You save the time you are doing that pre-seam. It will be definitely, you will recuperate that in the installation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, you could take, a couple minutes doing each panel, and if you've got a lot of panels to put together, it's a lot of time at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you have a technique, a faster technique, and you're, okay, this one, the second one, the last ones are faster. You're just, okay, repeating, right? But definitely, man, I mean, time is like, at the end of the day, the essence of, how much money are you going to make.
Exactly. It all circles back to how much money you're going to make.
That's at the end what always have to be, in mind.
Yeah.
Keep in mind.
100%. 100%. That's amazing. Well, we have been talking for quite a while now, Pablo, and I want to be respectful of your time, and we're talking about families and stuff, so I want to make sure I get you wrapped up here. Is there anything else that we didn't talk about that maybe you wanted to bring up during the conversation?
No, man. The thing, I think like, this is like a never ending chat, right? You can talk a lot of things that involves this industry and the topic of rapping and everything. But I think, man, I mean, at least from my side, I know we did it a little, we get a little disorganized on the time lapse. I mean, on the time frame of the events, but um, I think I'm good, man. I think yeah, definitely everything we did. I think we took a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think we hit a lot of marks here, and again, going back to your story, just absolutely amazing. I think that the top three stories I've heard so far on the podcast, man, it's just
Oh
a
man.
true inspiration to, going from, a business of growing
Oh, the bell
peppers.
peppers.
Yeah,
Yes.
peppers, man. I just can't get over
Yeah,
that. Growing
man.
peppers to having the dog and selling the puppies to better your life, man. I feel like everything has worked out really, really well for you, and you've built opportunities for yourself to get to where you are, and you deserve, every bit of what you have right now, and for the future, man, for you and your wife and your beautiful kids. Um, it's just amazing that someone in your shoes is where you are now, and listening to that story, man, it's just like, honestly, everybody's story, hands down, this is taking the cake a little bit for me. It's just completely amazing. It's just completely amazing, man. It's a true, um, American dream for you.
Wow, man. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for the way you say it. It's like inspiring for me. Yeah, it looks like I really appreciate that, man. Yeah, but yes, man. One of the things right now that actually makes this works, because it's important to say, man. It's like my wife is helping me so much now, man, with this, and she's pretty much getting this business. She she already is doing everything today, man. I'm more installing now.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get into design now, but I'm installing outside pretty much, and being there, just doing installation most of the time. She doing all the jobs she's doing is actually very helpful to continue from here.
right.
So, and thank you for saying that, because really, at least you probably, I mean, I don't think like that much of my story. It's like that is good, but when you say it, it's like, wow, maybe I have to pay attention too. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Thank you,
man.
man.
You
Yes.
you deserve every little bit, man. It's just inspiration to all of us to listen to this story, and thank you for being so vulnerable and letting us to into your life. You know what I mean? Potentially into your life, where you are now, and sharing all that with us. I appreciate you.
Sure, man. Yeah, pretty much my work life is, but yeah, man. I mean, uh, it's transparent, and it's good for, I know a lot of people are pretty much living the same things. So we all the people that we are here in this industry, we understand a lot of, topics like family, like, business, doing money, not making money, too much time in this. So it's, it's good, for when, when we talk, we share these things. I know a lot of people in the podcast share too. So it's good to, learn from everybody and grow from there.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Just amazing, brother. Well, typically how we end the podcast is I like to have you let us know where people can get in contact with you on social media and your website.
Sure. Yeah. My website is h5raps.com. Um, Instagram is h5raps, and Twitter, I think it's H5 Raps too. I don't do too much tweets, but yes, it's still working. I have a YouTube channel that is, trying to get that YouTube channel some movement, but it's H5 Raps too. And I think that, Facebook, H5 Raps. Everything is H5 Raps.
Perfect.
So yeah. Instagram is the account that I more use normally. You know that how good is Instagram for this industry. But yeah, everybody's welcome, man, to visit my profiles and share stories too, or pictures, or I will be very happy.
Perfect. Pablo, absolute pleasure talking to you, brother. Thank you so much again, and I wish you and your family and your employees well for 2018, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much for inviting me, man. It's an honor to me to be here, and very really good experience. And yeah, thank you.
What's up, everybody? Hope you enjoyed this episode of the All Wrapped Up podcast. Hit that rank button and review. And to stay up to date with future podcasts, hit that subscribe button. Till next time, folks, that's a wrap.